Hi, this is Mike Fox from Showpad, and I'm honored to be joined by Steven Van Belleghem, who's an author, entrepreneur, and a thought leader thinking about customer relationships and the transformation of sales and marketing. Steven, you're thinking a lot about today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and how that impacts the buying experience. Can you share what your thoughts are about how sales, marketing, and buyers are changing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at where we are today, we're at like the end of phase 2 of digital. Phase 1 was about information being released. Phase 2 was about mobile and social. Phase 3 is about automation and AI. And we're at the beginning of that phase. And I think the challenge for companies and salespeople and marketing people is to understand how they can use that new technology to create new customer benefits. Mm-hmm. And I think in the last 3 years, I've probably been to about 200 to 300 companies in the East, the West, and Europe to see how they play with that. And I came up with 3 clear benefits that they always work on. The first one is faster than real-time customer service. How can you anticipate on problems? How can you help customers before they even know that they will have a problem? Second one is hyper-personalization. How can we make it more personal and personalized than ever before? And the most convenient user interfaces ever. And I think this is the biggest opportunity to focus on these 3. I think a lot of companies will get overexcited about technology, so they will focus on technology. I think our challenge as business people is to focus on the customer and dare to dream about a wonderful customer experience, dare to dream what it could be in the day after tomorrow, and then work your way back to create your tomorrow. I mean, there are 2 ways to create your tomorrow as a business. You can start with what you have today and make an extrapolation towards that day after tomorrow, or you can dream and work back. Both create a tomorrow, but it will be totally different. And I believe the only way to succeed in this new world is to dare to dream and work your way back. And I'm convinced that phase 3 will be a world where buyers, customers are more powerful, more knowledgeable than ever before. Mm-hmm. We just saw some research from Louis Jonkeren, one of the founders of Showpad, who actually showed that 53% of people, B2B buyers, start to make decisions based on the buying experience. Right. So buying experience, customer experience is becoming more important than product and price. And that's why I'm so convinced we need to focus on those user benefits.
Absolutely. And so, as we see today, in the buying and selling experience, there's a lot of human interaction. Do you think the human interaction will stay in the future?
Absolutely. Even more, I think it will become more important than ever before. And this sounds like a paradox to some people. People think that because of digital, the human part is disappearing. And because of that, it's becoming less important. I disagree. I think, of course, the human part is decreasing in frequency. Mm-hmm. I think salespeople have less human-to-human contact than, say, 10 or 15 years ago. But just because of that reason, it becomes more important. It's like going to a bank. I mean, in the past, an entrepreneur maybe went to a bank 52 times a year. Maybe they had 2 bad experiences a year. They still, that's not a problem because they still have 50 good ones. Mm-hmm. Today, if you only go twice a year to your banker and you have 1 bad moment, that is a big disaster. So the less time you actually spend with the customer, the more important that 1 moment becomes. So I really believe in the power of face-to-face sales, but you have to make sure that that is like the best moment in the year. And this is a challenge because for many salespeople, visiting customers is a routine job. Mm-hmm. For many customers, it becomes a once-in-a-year conversation. And the moment that salespeople fall in that routine trap, it's a disaster. The moment that they understand this is a once-in-a-year opportunity to talk with a customer, let's make that really relevant, really special, a top experience, those salespeople will win.
Sure, and so it really shows the value of each interaction. It's like the value of the interface with the technology. And how is that changing compared to the value of brands?
There was a beautiful piece of research about that in the Harvard Business Review. The title was Why Customer Relations Trump Over Powerful Brands. Mm-hmm. And what they did is they looked at what drives financial value of a company, and they compared that over a decade of time. So what they saw that 10 years ago, the biggest value driver of a company was the brand, the intangible part of the brand, like Coca-Cola, Hilton, BMW, right? Today, a brand is still important, but only half as important as 10 years ago. Mm. The rising star is customer value. The word of existing customers that you know in person and that you leverage upon. And I think this is why companies like Booking.com win from the hotel industry, why Spotify wins from radio stations, why Netflix wins from TV shows. because those guys still believe that the brand is the most powerful thing, and they still tend to do marketing like it's still 2003.
Right.
Whereas those new companies, they focus on the interface, they focus on the data, on the interaction, they make life easy, and because of that, people prefer those channels. So if you ask me if the way that value is created for a company is totally making a huge flip, that's how resources should flip. And probably in the previous phase of marketing and sales, creativity was the king.
Right.
Today, I think data is the king. Creativity is still important, but data is king. And I love the things that Louis presented about the new data analytics tools from Showpad, the new releases that you're working on, that you can actually see the data on a conversational flow on how salespeople and customers interact about sales information, about content. And I personally believe that today, many business leaders talk about that, they debate about that, they brainstorm about that, and they let their gut feeling decide. I think pretty soon, thanks to those new data analytics tools, they will see that their gut feeling is pretty worthless and that they have to rely on that data. And it's like that fantastic quote that you see, for instance, in the Netflix offices that says, "In God we trust, all others bring data." And I think you're going to see that pretty soon in the world of sales automation and sales enablement as well.
Absolutely. And so, that plays to where companies should invest, right? For them to prepare for the day after tomorrow is really in data and making sure that those interactions are really strong. Is that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's, if you talk about a world of AI and automation, data is the ingredient of automation and AI. So that is absolutely investment axe number one. The other one is user interfaces, making it effortless for customers, making it effortless for salespeople. Today we are used to taking an Uber, and the best part of an Uber is getting out of the car, because you thank the driver, you get out, you close the door, by the time the door's closed, bats, you've paid. You don't know how, you don't know how much, but it's better than the old system where you have to sit there and wait for 90 long seconds to get paid.
Right.
Mentally, we cannot handle those 90 seconds anymore because we're used to the 0 seconds. And I think in sales and marketing, it's going to be exactly the same.
Right, that internet patience is...
It's gone. And the third investment axe is what I call intelligence augmented. It's not the end of people in sales and marketing and service. It's the world where machines actually help people to perform at a higher level.
Okay.
And personally, I believe that as a company, if you want your people to perform at a high level in a personalized way, in a relevant way, you need smart software to support them. You cannot accept that expect that your salespeople just all have this amazing talent to personalize, to remember everything, to just pull out the right content at the right moment. The top talented people may do this, but a normal human being cannot do this. And they need support, like Showpad is fantastic for that, of course.
Sure.
And for me, what Showpad actually does, it's augmenting the intelligence level of salespeople. And this is investment axe number 3. You don't have to look for ways to replace your people, you have to look for ways to augment the power of your people.
Yeah, it's really key to what Showpad's doing, is helping with that.
Exactly.
Augmenting.
Yes.
It's fantastic. So we think about, companies need to invest in certain ways. We've got, a great opportunity with Showpad, but what do the sales and marketing people need to do themselves for their careers, for themselves to stay kind of in front of, or at least even with, the changes that are coming?
Right, I think that's a crucial question. We're all responsible for our own careers. We cannot complain if things go wrong and we didn't invest in our own careers. I think that's everyone's responsibility. In this world, as a sales and marketing person, I think the crucial thing to accept is that you're not the king, but the customer is the king. And that you will have to figure out all possible new ways to make sure that the life of that customer becomes easier, better, more relevant, thanks to what you do. What do you need to do? I think be open to that, be open to new tools, and start some sort of a learning journey for yourself. Today there's so many fantastic online platforms where you can start to study about new things. If you hear about AI and you don't really get it, go to Coursera, which is like a spin-off of Stanford for online education. You can follow AI courses from the best professors from universities, top league universities from the US, totally for free.
Right.
So it is available. You just watch a little bit less Orange is the New Black, and you invest a little bit more in those tools. And I think that is an important step, because I personally think today in marketing and sales, there's this big opportunity to become the expert of the new phase. Because a lot of people are reluctant to accept that there's a new phase, and a lot of people are reluctant to invest time to become an expert in the new phase. But this will be a time, if you are an expert about this, that you can make a huge difference. And the fun thing is the tools are free and available online for you to become an expert.
Absolutely. It's really the time for us to all embrace change and be ready for it. It's coming. It's coming in kind of waves at us, and you can fear from it and kind of pull back, or you can just embrace it and go forward.
Yes, I fully agree.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time.
It was my pleasure. It was wonderful talking to you, Mike.